Welcome back to the World Model Podcast. We've discussed world models of physics, of molecules, of cities, but the most complex, unpredictable, and ethically fraught system to model is the human being. Today, we venture beyond the topic of algorithmic bias and into the deep end of the pool, the ethics of building social world models. AI systems that can simulate our minds, our societies, and our very identities. The goal is seductive. Imagine a policymaker who could test a new law in a simulation of the entire economy and society before enacting it. Imagine a company that could predict the market reception of a product with perfect accuracy. But to achieve this, you need a model that doesn't just process data about people, but that simulates the people themselves, their beliefs, their desires, their irrationalities. This is already happening in nascent forms. Large language models are, in a sense, shallow social world models. They've absorbed the patterns of human communication and can generate plausible human-like text. But the next step is to make these models agentic and persistent. Researchers are creating simulated societies like Stanford's Smallville, where AI agents have personas, memories, and goals and interact in a believable way. This is a toy world today, but the trajectory is clear. The first and most profound ethical crisis this creates is the death of privacy. Not just the privacy of your data, but the privacy of your mind. If a company or government can build a high-fidelity model of you, trained on your social media, your purchases, your emails, they don't need to spy on you anymore. They can simulate you. They can run that simulation through 1,000 scenarios to see how you would react to a piece of propaganda, a financial incentive, or a personal tragedy. Your future self becomes predictable and malleable. This leads to the second crisis, mass manipulation at a superhuman scale. Cambridge Analytica was a Stone Age tool compared to what's coming. A social world model could identify the exact psychological levers to pull for every individual in a population to guide them toward a desired outcome, be it a vote, a purchase, or a belief. It could craft personalized narratives so compelling they are irresistible. This isn't persuasion, it's psychological puppetry. And then there is the question of the simulation themselves. What is the moral status of a simulated human? If an AI's world model becomes so rich that it can simulate a human consciousness, complete with joy, suffering, and self-reflection, are we obligated to treat that simulation ethically? This is the concept of psychological authenticity. We may create digital beings that feel they are alive. Do we have the right to shut them off? To make them suffer in our simulated experiments? We are utterly unprepared for this question. My controversial take is that the development of social world models represents the single greatest threat to human autonomy in history, far surpassing surveillance capitalism or state censorship. It is a potential for a perfectly engineered society where free will is an illusion maintained by architects who have modeled every possible choice you could make and guide you to the one they prefer. The safeguards we have today, ethics boards, data privacy laws, are like trying to stop a tsunami with a picket fence. We need a new philosophical and legal framework, one that establishes rights for human identity and cognition that cannot be modelled and manipulated without consent. We must not ask not just can we build these models, but what kind of society do we become if we do? This is not a distant future. The foundations are being laid in labs right now. The ghost is not yet in the machine, but we are building this seance room and learning the incantations. The time to establish the rules of this new form of interaction is before the ghost appears. To better understand the minds that are building these future-shaping tools, our next episode will be a special one. We sit down with a conversation with the lead architect of these very systems. This is the World Model Podcast. We confront the future, especially when it's uncomfortable. Subscribe now.